tried to warn them. They didn't listen.
Yeah!
Every week, the Hoffman Show goes into the belly of the beast.
We read those comments, baby.
Never read the comments.
Oh, man, the deeper we get into draft silly season, Anthony, the wackier some of these comments are getting. But we appreciate them, every single one of them. At Craig Hoffman, at the Team 980. We cut up the show into pieces, and we post the highlights at those places on YouTube. You leave comments on them, and then we read them here on the radio. Typically Wednesdays, but this week with the breaking news yesterday, Thursday at 5:30. Any further questions, Anthony Haney, before we begin?
No.
Okay, that's good. So one of the always super fun segments that we do each week, speaking of, is Vibe Check Tuesday. We did, by the way, Anthony, get a question. Who was that question from? I put this later on the rundown. I'm going to read it now. Justin's commented, he goes, "Hey, Craig, this might be a stupid question, but I always miss these. What time should I call?" That's not a stupid question. If you don't listen to the show every single day, like in your car, and you're more of a YouTube person or your Odyssey app or whoever, and you listen on demand, you might not know that 4 o'clock on Tuesdays is when we do Vibe Check Tuesday. So now, who knows? If we get a Justin calling in next week, Anthony, you're going to be like, are you the Justin who left the comment who now knows when to call in?
Yep, I got it.
We take calls at other times, but on Vibe Check Tuesday. But there are some folks, Anthony, that don't seem to understand how this whole radio show thing works. Chris Mahoney, 5668, says, "Why are you going to ask people to call into the show and ask who they want to draft and then argue and debate them about their pick? WTF is that?" And then this, can't make this up. It's too stupid. Free Speech 2975. Yep, Free Speech 2975 responds, "That's always what he does, bruh." Which is always my favorite. Like, I don't actually read the comments. They're talking about me in front of my face. It's how it would be like, "Damn, that Anthony Haney, he's really got a purple sweatshirt on." For those listening on the radio, Anthony's wearing a purple sweatshirt. I see the comments. You don't have to talk like I'm not here. Anyway, that's always what he does, bruh. And he doesn't even let you continue making your argument either. He has his mind made up that Drake May is the better prospect and he has no room for debate. Doesn't make any sense. Anthony, you listen to this show more than literally anybody because you're a part of it. Would you say that I've had my mind made up that Drake May is the best prospect of the three remaining non-Caleb Williams category? That I've made my mind up and I have no room for debate?
I don't think so. It's sort of kind of, I mean, you make the argument for everybody, like, often. Like,
yeah. I sometimes am the debate within myself.
Yeah.
I don't even need the callers sometimes. I can't make up my mind on these guys. I've been very open about that. But I think some people get pigeonholed into, hey, if I had to pick one, I'd probably lean May, which is where I was for a long time. And I guess I don't know where I am right now. Where I am right now is confused because there's just certain things that I can't get over with Drake as a prospect and with JJ and with Jaden. There's just certain things where I'm like, I don't know. But I don't have to make that decision. But point is, I don't know if y'all know how the radio show works, but yes, people call in and we don't just let them talk and then go to the next caller. There are radio shows to do that and they're terrible. The whole point is that we have a discussion and we have a debate and it's fun and the entertainment is in the debate. So yes, when you call into the show, or for instance, you leave a YouTube comment on this section or on for this segment, we then have a debate about the opinion. That's how the format works. I didn't think I needed to explain that, Anthony, but now we have an explanation that we can send people.
I guess you have to do that.
Wild to me. Anyway, let's get into some non-ridiculous comments that was just left me with the, huh? Like, if I could turn my face into the melted face emoji and just be like, That's how I felt reading that comment. Anyway, some comments on the quarterbacks themselves. I think this one was about JJ McCarthy. Certainly, we talked about all of them. But we were talking within the course of the discussion about game managers versus big baller playmaker types. And Mr. P718 says, I don't get it. I'd rather have a game manager that takes you to the Super Bowl than a quote-unquote generational talent that barely gets into the playoffs. This I also don't understand. And this is something I think that people are assigning to McCarthy. Also, if you don't think JJ McCarthy can be a playmaker, like you just haven't watched JJ McCarthy. So like a lot of people, I think on McCarthy are telling on themselves right now that they just haven't watched the kid. That they see someone that they think looks like a milquetoast white kid, NFL, like went to Michigan, played in a run-centric offense. And I'm like, go actually, like, yeah. Does he have some bad tape in there? Of course. Of course he does. But go watch the tape. He's really good. And he's got a really good arm. And he can make plays off platform. And he can run, like really run. And his arm talent is, frankly, better than Jaden Daniels, which is really weird because he doesn't throw as good of a deep ball as Daniels. But don't get it twisted. Those two things are not the same. Anyway, the point is, Game Manager has become this very silly thing that we downgrade. And the thing is, because the game the term was initially used to be nice about guys that weren't that good. And then it got applied to guys who actually were pretty good and can go win you games, but maybe played within systems where coaches were smart enough to not ask them to more often than any quarterback should. So yes, would it be awesome if you could get a Patrick Mahomes who you can put the entire game on 17 weeks a year and then 4 more playoff games and walk away with a ring with? Yeah. But you want to know who else can do that? Nobody. So someone who's really effective within any system and can make throws even though they don't have the whole game on their shoulders and they might not be able to keep a rhythm. Like, I look at that as a positive. And people want to say, like, oh, well, if JJ was better, then Harbaugh would have put more on him and they wouldn't have leaned so heavily into running the football and whatever. And I'm like, they won the bleeping national championship. You can't tell me they could have had a better team strategy than winning the bloody natty. What are you talking about, you buffoons? They have scoreboards. JJ McCarthy did his job. They also have tape. The tape for him is very good. That's not to say that he should be the pick. That's not to say that he's a higher upside prospect than Drake May. It's not to say he's a more explosive runner or anything than Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying anything crazy here. It's just like some of the arguments that people make, just say you don't watch. Just say you don't have any idea, if you do watch, what you're looking at. That would be more intellectually honest. That got a little high and mighty for a second. Maybe I expect Linnell to pop in any second now. Anthony would be like, that was the thing I was saying about the ego. This segment sometimes becomes me at my worst.
Maybe.
I'm like, save me from myself. Anthony, we should just dump the entire we're going to start the segment over. 10 minutes, me just railing against people. I don't know. Maybe this is what it's for. It's only entertainment. All right. Like Samuel Anderson. Samuel Anderson, 85-19. I recently watched some more film on JJ McCarthy and came away pretty impressed. He's definitely better than May and is more worthy to be in the same conversation with Williams and Daniels. Right now, JJ McCarthy is better than Drake May. I think the thing that you have to the thing you have to consider, and the reason why this is so bleeping hard is because Drake May's upside is the highest. He's got the best arm. He's got the best prototypical size. He's a fantastic athlete, all that kind of stuff. And when you watch him, I was texting with someone in NFL media circles this morning, and we were texting about May and Daniels and McCarthy. And I said, May scares me because the footwork stuff is so inconsistent. And he goes, well, he didn't trust his O-line. And I think that really affected how his feet were and his accuracy and all that kind of stuff. And my response was, if I was him, I wouldn't have trusted my line either. They weren't very good. So I understand that. And I think that's part of the thing that you see from the 22 tape to the 23 tape in May is in 22, where he was better and had better tape and was considered like right there with Caleb Williams at the top of the draft, he had more trust in the people around him and he played better. 23, he doesn't have the talent around him. And I don't want to say it's a mess, but it's messy with a lot of frequency. And so if I, as a coach, think that I can surround him and as a general manager can surround him with talent and coach out the bad habits from a 21-year-old kid, then I could be looking at a perennial Pro Bowler. And that's really hard to pass up on. And that's why I keep talking myself back into Drake May, even though every time I watch his tape from 23, I'm like, no freaking way. Meanwhile, JJ McCarthy, you watch and he's got everything you could want. He's got NFL linemen in front of him. He's got great receivers. Roman Wilson might be a second rounder. He's got Blake Corum, who's going to be one of the first backs off the board, albeit in the third round. And by the way, he also knew that he didn't have to do a whole lot. So the pressure wasn't as high because his defense was awesome. And by the way, again, that formula worked for Michigan. They're the reigning champions. He also got professional coaching from Harbaugh. But what that translates to is when you watch the actual tape, you don't have to do any imagination. You're like, oh, that's drive. That is a corner out concept. That is dagger. Like, these are NFL concepts. He reads them out perfectly, and he fires bullets in tight NFL windows. What more do you want from the kid? And meanwhile, Jaden Daniels is more ready to play than those two, even though if in the long term, you wonder about some of the arm strength from a velocity standpoint, but he's got the quick release that makes up for it. And now I've talked myself in circles again. This is the conundrum, which is why I might be an absolute bat bleep insane person by the time that we actually get to Detroit, because I will have continued to talk myself in circles. Which leads me to this great comment from TWFT 2036 or 236. There is no true formula to this. The kid drafted at Houston, talking about CJ Stroud, of course, was supposedly going to a real bad situation, and look at what happened. Joe Burrow a few years back, so you can cite whatever soothes your thoughts. And that's the other thing, too, when it comes about the development piece. And we're going to have a fun conversation with Bomani Jones about quarterback development tomorrow on the show. Because I know Bo's been tweeting a lot about this and talking about this on his show. So he's going to come on with us tomorrow. But everyone has an example that fits. The high quarterback who failed, the mid-round quarterback who succeeded, the quarterback who sat and it looks like he needed to, the quarterback who didn't sit and was good early and never stopped being good, the quarterback that didn't sit was good early and then became a failure. Like, there's an example for everyone here, which is why it's also a gigantic crapshoot about who ultimately is going to succeed and fail, especially at the quarterback position, but others too. Anthony, Logan told a very funny story earlier today on Take Command. Actually, I might try to pull this for real things. I'll see if William cut the audio. I think he already did. But long story short, one of Logan's former coaches sent him an email with like every tight end that played regular minutes in the NFL over the course of like 20 years. And it had their combine scores. And Logan's like, oh, wow, this is really interesting. Like, combine's pro days, right? Logan didn't actually go to the combine. And green is passing. Yellow is, like, fine. Or green is good. Yellow is passing. Red is fail. And Logan just keeps on scrolling down the list. He doesn't know what's about to hit him. But he gets to the bottom, and there's, like, a guy that has played real NFL minutes multiple years in the league that's, like, red. Arm length, bench press, 40 time, red, whatever the metrics were on that sheet, every single one of them was red. And Logan goes, man, I was like, that guy must have sucked. And you don't know who it was?
Logan Paulson.
It was Logan Paulson. Because Logan was so damn smart and got himself with coaches who knew how to use him and was willing to sacrifice his body and be a battering ram, that dude played 10 freaking years, even though he failed every physical metric of a dude who should be able to play one game.
That's hilarious.
Good luck figuring out this stupid league.
Man.
Anyway, 703 Evol X says, Craig, I know you don't necessarily care about this aspect of it, and really I don't either, but can you imagine Josh Harris trying to convince fans to buy tickets while charting Marcus Mariota out there each Sunday? Sheesh, that's going to be tough. They probably should have kept Howell if this ultimately ends up being the plan, and I understand the complications in that as well, so that's a tough one too. I appreciate this comment because I think it touches on something that's actually pretty special about Josh Harris, Anthony, and it's that Josh Harris doesn't give a rat's behind. And this is why we are very lucky that he is also the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers. Because Philly fans, I don't know if y'all have heard this, they're brutal. They think everyone sucks at all time unless you win the whole thing. And so Josh Harris has heard everything you could possibly hear from a fan base as he has tried to rebuild that thing with Joel Embiid and multiple coaches and the whole deal. And they've won 50 games every single year and been in great position. And then Joel gets hurt or something, or James Harden or Ben Simmons forgets how to play basketball or whatever wackadoodle stuff has happened to them. And he just keeps on doing the thing that he thinks is right. So he's going to empower Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and whoever else is involved in that decision to do what they think is best for the long-term help and maximize the chances of winning a title. And if that means eating crow, or whatever else that you eat, I can't say the word that I want, eating stuff the first couple of weeks or even the first year of this administration because they don't think the kid is ready and they think they're going to do long-term damage, and unfortunately the best they could do otherwise is Marcus Mariota, they'll deal with it. And yeah, would they have probably preferred someone better than Mariota? Of course. But the problem is, if you're way better than Mariota, you're probably going somewhere to start. And they can't guarantee that to anybody. And so they got the best that they could. And, who knows? Maybe Marcus will have a resurgent year under Cliff. Maybe that's a good fit. Fingers crossed. Cirques 1K. If you think this is in response to the Take Command mock draft where, Anthony, we somehow traded back and still got Jaden Daniels. I don't know if you saw that.
I have not seen that. You traded back to where? 4?
We traded back initially to 11, then back up to 6.
And still got Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, for whatever reason, the PFF Simulator hooked us up.
Nice.
So we got Jaden at 6, and then we got Layatu Latu, the edge out of UCLA at 23.
I love it then.
Patrick Paul. That was a damn good draft we had.
Yeah.
By the way, Matt Miller's latest mock has Darius Robinson and Patrick Paul going at 36 and 40 to Washington. And if that happens, Logan Paulson will be seen running the streets of Ashburn, waving his shirt over his head. Those are probably his 2 favorite second-round guys. But he says, if you think you can trade back and still get Jaden Daniels, are you not saying you think Drake May is the better prospect? And in that case, why would we not draft the best QB? I think this is a great question. I actually wish I'd saved more time for it. But I will use a very simple analogy here, which is, let's say Drake May, in this case, is a $4 quarterback, right? Caleb Williams is a $5 quarterback. That's the most expensive. You got $4 quarterback in Drake May, and Jaden Daniels is a $3 quarterback. If you can just stay at 2 and take Drake May, you got a $4 quarterback. That's great. You got $4. But if you can trade back and get a $3 Jaden Daniels and a $2 Layatu Latu or Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, or whatever else you can get with that second pick, let's say that player is a $2 player. Well, now you got $5, because I said Jaden was 3. You got $5. And Anthony, what's more, $5 or $4?
I think 5.
Yeah, that's correct. $5. And even though you have the less good quarterback, you have the better roster. And so you just have to assign that value. And I'm not saying that I think that Drake is a $4 and Jaden's a $3, but that's the premise behind that. If they ultimately, they being Adam Peters and his staff, make that evaluation. All right, a couple quick hitters here. James Taylor, 6051, says Adam Peters says he's going into camp with 4 quarterbacks. Would you prefer another veteran, or would you draft another QB within the first 4 rounds? I absolutely would not draft another quarterback within the first 4 rounds. I would probably just get an undrafted free agent or like a 6th or 7th round guy. That said, there is a part of me that just wants to draft Joe Milton for fun. Did you see his pro day yesterday?
Dude, I saw him throw an 80-yard bomb, which was ridiculous.
That dude threw like an 85-yard bomb and then ran a 4.5, and he's 200 and almost 50 pounds. He is a freak athletically. Like, it's absolutely insane. But the problem is, like, being able to throw the ball 80, 90 yards doesn't actually have a real help in, down out in the NFL. But for fun, and as a battering ram, short yardage back, hire Joe Milton. That's what I want. Last but not least, Anthony, our fun comments of the day. Before we get to more from our interview with Jim Van Stone, president of Monumental Sports, and Mayor Bowser this morning on the Junkies, as we restock or restack the top story of the day coming up at 6:00. We told the story late last week about my recurring nightmare. Remember that? The end of one of our shows, the nightmare that I get. That I am not going to graduate from college, even though I graduated from college 13 years ago. 14 years ago? 14 years ago. No. 12 years ago. Math. Maybe I need to go back and do the math classes.
I was about to say, good gracious.
Believe it or not, the nightmare was not about math. But anyway, my brain hurts. I'm not alone, Anthony. I'm not the only one that apparently has this nightmare. The BMOC 95, I'm 51 and still having this dream. Dinkstad 7751, I have the exact same dream, but it's from high school. I'm 46 and the dream still haunts me at least once a year.
High school is insane.
That's rough, bro.
So almost 30 years, almost.
Yeah, he's 46. Yeah. I wonder if it is on the same day every year or something. I want to know more about the once a year thing. I just get mine sporadically. But I did it. I graduated. And Anthony, I did send you a selfie with my diploma when I was at my parents in South Carolina.
I can confirm this, guys.
Yeah, I did graduate.
I even learned Craig's middle name.
Yeah, you did. Despite at times it certainly doesn't appear that I did. Why would any accredited university have given me a diploma considering the skills that I showed 90 seconds ago, trying to figure out how long ago it was that I got that diploma? But I did get it.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.